Hi, my name is Jennifer Howard. I'm the owner of Facets Relational Care, and today we're going to talk about how to make it work with someone who is an Enneagram Type 3. In other words, what are some things that you could do if you have a relationship with someone that's a 3 on the Enneagram to improve the relationship, communicate better, kind of speak their language, so to speak? How can you love them better? So I would say, jumping right into it, I'm going to give you guys for type 3, I'm going to go ahead and just give you the big guns first. And if you don't get anything else out of this video, I'm really hoping that you're going to get this because this is so fundamentally just, I don't know, life-changing for them. Okay. This is especially true if you're in a romantic relationship with someone that's a 3, or even if you've got a child that's a 3. If you've been studying the Enneagram at all, probably one of the first things that you learn about type 3 is that they're called the performer or their achiever. The whole key issue for type 3 is that they take things outside of themselves and they identify with those things that are external of themselves. And they begin to place their value and their worth in those things. So, it's different for every 3, as I talked about in my introductory video for type 3. I'll give you just a really quick rundown as a refresher. Some 3s, they may say that I know I have value because I have an ideal family. I have, this may be more of a female 3 thing, but it could be a male 3 thing as well. They may say, I know that I have value because I have a husband that makes good money, and I've got a child that makes good grades, and we've got a nice house, and we don't ever fight, and we don't have, any problems. And they've kind of got, a female 3 may have kind of like the nice family image going on. They're this nice, happy family, and they've got the pretty giant portraits that hang up in the living room that the professional photographer took, and everything's kind of color coordinated, and they've got the pretty little things that hang on the wall that say, I don't know, stuff. I don't know what, God bless our house or whatever. Okay. And anyways, that's an image thing. None of those things are true, because even underneath of that veneer, there's still problems that occur in that family, but it's an external thing that they can have that they present to the outside world that makes them feel like they have value. So if you're a female 3 and that was where you put your value, it's kind of like you're saying, well, I have this ideal family, and this is kind of why I'm awesome, because I have this family and I have this wonderful man and he loves me and I mean the whole world to him, and these are my children and they love me, and they mean the whole world to me, and we're this nice big happy family and I have everything. And it's this external thing. There's value in that. Other 3s place a lot of value in how much money they make. Some 3s place value in the type of car that they drive or the material possessions that they own, like how big their house is, how nice their house is. Other 3s place their value in what they're able to accomplish, their achievements, how many degrees they have, how many awards they've won at work. Are they a recognized citizen within their community? That sort of thing. I could go on and on and on. The list goes on forever. There are so many different ways to be a 3 and so many different external things to place your value in as a person, right? And all of it is just a veneer, an image. And you need to understand, if you are in a romantic relationship with a 3, or if you have a child who is a 3, that the 3 in your life lives in perpetual terror, even though it is not apparent to you on the outside. And it's really an unconscious fear. I'm not even sure if they would acknowledge it right away. I think it would take some working for them. But they live in perpetual terror that outside of this external stuff, they are nothing. I heard this story one time that a guy that I know who's a 3 told this story, and it was so profound. And this is the point that I'm going to tell this story, because it makes the point that I want to give to you. And that is, he was talking about how he had gotten married and they had been married for a little while. And it occurred to him one day that he didn't really know why his wife loved him, why she married him, because, he was a very successful guy, very rich, very, very wealthy, drove a really nice car, lived in a very nice neighborhood, huge house, very well-known person within the community, dressed really nice, very funny, incredibly intelligent, had a PhD. But he didn't understand why his wife married him. It was lost on him why someone would find him attractive. And he never vocalized that to anybody, because it was hard for him to even think about consciously for a very long time. And finally, after having been married for 5 or 6 years, he kind of got to this place where it was just eating away at him, and he had to consciously address this because he couldn't stand the idea that maybe this woman only married him because he had money or because he was a well-known person. Um, so he asked her one day, and he said, well, I don't understand. Why do you love me? Why did you marry me? And she said things like, well, because you're really funny and you make me laugh. And so he said to her one day, well, what if I wasn't funny? Would you have still married me? And she said, yes. And he said, why? And she said, well, because you're really smart and, we talk for hours and you're always teaching me new things. And he said, okay, but what if I wasn't really smart? Would you still have married me? And she said, yes. And he said, why? And she gave another reason. And it went on and back and forth until she ran out of things to say. And she got really, really frustrated. And he asked her again, okay, well, if none of those things were true about me, why would you marry me? Would you still marry me, and why? And she said, and she said, I don't know. I just would. I just like you. And he told her in frustration, I don't understand why you just like me. What is it about me that has any value or any worth to you? And she told him, I love you and I value you and I married you because in my heart you were mine. And there was something about that that just changed. It never occurred to him that he could be loved just because he belonged to somebody. Do you know what I mean? And I understand that because I'm not a 3, but even on some level, that is just this weird idea to take in. I mean, I think all of us, especially if you're living in the United States, are affected by just this idea that you have to have some kind of external thing, some kind of performance or possession that makes you lovable. And so the idea that we could be lovable outside of our personality type, outside of how intelligent we are, what we look like, what we earn, what we do, what our past has been, what our future looks like it's going to be. The fact that we could be loved as human beings outside of that is foreign to us. And what I need you to hear is that if you are romantically involved with someone that is a 3 on the Enneagram, more so than any other type, perhaps, they need to hear. They need to hear that you love them because they belong to you. They need to know that they are yours and you love them for that reason. And I want you to hear this. If you start saying stuff like that to them, they're going to kind of balk at that at first because it's kind of like, yeah, right. Nobody loves me just because like I belong to them. Like I have to have something of value. Otherwise, nobody loves me. It's a foreign idea to them. It's going to take reiteration again and again and again and again and again for them to understand that they belong to you and you love them simply for that reason. Think about, with your kids, and I don't care if your kid is a 3 or not, or even if you're a 3, I don't care. Have you ever really thought about why you love your kids? Take your child and think about, if you were in some kind of a situation and you had to choose between saving the life of your child or someone else's child, whose child are you going to pick? You're going to pick your child. Why are you going to pick your child? Have you ever really thought about why you're going to pick your child? No child deserves to die. Who's to say that this child gets to live over that child? Really, who gets to say? Well, the answer is nobody does. The reason that you would pick your child is because it's your child. Do you see what I'm saying? Everybody's like that. If I had to choose between my daughter and somebody else's kid, I'm going to choose my kid because she's mine and I want my kid to live. You know what I mean? I may love the other child. It could be my niece or my nephew, and I'm still going to pick my kid because it's my kid. I love my kid. You see what I'm saying? There is something incredibly profound, and I don't mean to be, I want to be careful how I say this. I want to use the word ownership, but I think that, especially in the United States, we have such a negative connotation with that word when it's used in a relational setting, which upsets me because it can be used in a very positive way. But there is something so healing and so profound about knowing that you belong to someone else. You know what I mean? And that they can love you simply because of that. And that's going to be a key thing if you love someone that's a 3, whether you're romantically involved or whether or not they are a child. I tell my daughter all the time, my daughter's not a 3, she's a 9, but I tell her all of the time, I tell her, I love her because of who she is, and I love her because she is mine. Always, I tell her that. Those are so fundamental to just developing a healthy psychology as an adult. So, um, plug that in straight away and give it to them. Give it to them seriously. Be very direct about it. Look them in the eye when you say it. No joking, no goofing around. You need to be serious, and you need to reiterate it again and again and again and again and again. Even if they don't take you seriously, even if they don't even understand what that means, even if they're like, okay, thanks, I guess, it doesn't matter. Keep reiterating that to them. That's an important thing that they need to know, because that reinforces their identity as the person that you love, not their identity as the person that has the ideal family, or the person that, had your children, or the person that earns money and supports you. You know what I mean? None of that, okay? Because that's not who they are. It's external crap that doesn't matter, okay? But with that being said, threes do work really hard to achieve a lot of things. They're achievers. Some threes work really hard to build and create this nice, healthy, happy family unit. They want to get married and have, 2 kids and the white picket fence and the nice house. And I would say, it means a lot to them when they achieve things. But so, I mean, it's always good to acknowledge the achievements that they do. But again, as with, type 1 and type 2, as we've already discussed, you have to just be careful with how you do that, because you want to make sure that you're not reinforcing a false ego. You don't want to keep them trapped in this idea that they have to perform and have to have excess things outside of themselves to be of value. And sometimes when we spend too much time acknowledging achievements and not giving attention to them outside of that, it just reinforces this idea that they have to, have this thing, or create this thing, or achieve this thing, or upkeep this thing outside of themselves in order to have value. And that's what we're trying to move away from, because we would like them to be healthy and happy, as I mentioned in my video for type 1. But, sometimes not doing anything in and of itself is an achievement. So encourage them when they're not doing anything. Encourage them to just spend time with you. When they do achieve things, congratulate them on that for sure. But I mean, don't hesitate to say things like, even if you didn't have that, I would still love you. Even if you hadn't have done that, I would still love you. If they try at something and they fail, please just be like totally encouraging, not necessarily saying, oh, well, you should fail every time, but to say, it doesn't matter, because that's not who you are, and you still have value to me, and I still love you, or I still appreciate working with you, or you still, are such an asset to this team, even if that idea that they had, whatever it was, if it failed, keep reassuring them that their presence there matters, even if the external crap that they're trying to give you falls through, okay? So that's an important thing to do. I would say make sure that you have to be patient with them, because threes are going to be people that are on the go. They get up in the morning and they have a to-do list, and they love the to-do list, and it makes them feel good to cross things off the to-do list. By the way, I've known threes that didn't have any apparent external hangups. They weren't very competitive. They didn't care if they were the smartest person in the room, didn't really care if they had the nicest house or all the money, or the hottest wife, or the most handsome husband, or the perfect family. I've met threes that didn't care about any of that, but they were obsessed with that to-do list. They would get up every day, and there's the list, and it has to get done, every single thing on that list. And it just eats away at them if there's something that's not getting done. I've known threes that would get so frustrated because they would get up and try to tackle all of the stuff on this to-do list, and then their spouse just sits there and wants to watch TV, or their kids don't do what they were supposed to do, or their roommate doesn't do what they were supposed to do, and it just gets really frustrating for them, because they're trying to achieve. And in the instances where they need the help of other people and those people aren't helping, it creates a sense of anxiety, because it's like, this stuff isn't getting done. What am I going to do if it doesn't get done? I have to make things happen. You know what I mean? So I would say just understand that that's a hang up for them. And again, the hang up could look different for different people. So like threes, again, that are more relationally centered. In other words, threes that kind of use the whole nice, pretty family picture kind of veneer. If that's their whole thing, those threes are going to get really cranky and frustrated if people are fighting and they're not getting along, especially if they're in public. It's kind of like, okay, we're in public, so let's pretend that we're a really nice, happy family and that we love each other. It'll be really important for them to keep that up in public. They'll get upset if, things get posted on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, about maybe something that's going on at home that doesn't reflect, a nice image of that white picket fence family kind of a thing. If, they'll, it's just that sort of stuff. So when they feel like their image is suffering in some way, or when they feel like their value and their ability to achieve and their ability to perform, I guess that's a better way to say it. When they feel like the thing that they have their value in has been compromised, they tend to get cranky. So just be willing to be really patient with them about that, because it's going to take them some time to learn how to let those external things go and learn that they're okay, even if they didn't get everything on the to-do list done, even if they didn't get the whole house clean, even if, one of the kids, I don't know, is failing in school and, has got an attitude problem. And, even if their wife just filed for a divorce, even if they've lost their job, it takes them time. It's going to be a lifelong journey for them to get to a place where those things can happen and they don't feel like they need to be embarrassed about it. Do you know what I mean? So just be patient with them, because those things are really, really hard. They're going to be cranky and they get really testy. They can nag a lot and start to just, I don't know, kind of get, cranky about it. So be patient with them when they do that. You're just going to have to wait that out, because they're growing too. They're humans, and that's an area where they're going to have to grow. I would say a point that I made for type 2 that I think applies for type 3 as well is you have to be, and actually I think this might even be more so with type 3. I've noticed you have to be really sensitive when you offer a criticism of any kind. They are so much more sensitive than they appear on the outside. 3s tend to appear, for the most part, on the outside pretty cool and pretty collected, and they can seem like you can just tell them whatever you need to tell them about your observations of them. And I've lost count of the times where I felt like I had established enough rapport with the 3 where I could go and I could say, hey, you kind of did this and that really wasn't cool, and, I thought they were going to take it okay, and it was not received well. In fact, they got so defensive, and I tried to be as kind about it as I could, but it was just, oh my goodness, like, I don't know, they've just had a really hard time hearing about their faults. You know what I mean? They can kind of look one-ish in that respect, but I had a whole video about comparing 3 and 1 if you want to go and watch that. But so I would just say, be really, really gentle. Try to, if you have to confront a 3 about something that they've done that just didn't work out, try and remember, again, they place a lot of their value in their ability to perform. So when you criticize a performance or something external, they take it very, very personally, and that's hard for them, okay? They are really, really, most 3s, unless they've done a lot of work, are really, really hostile about, when you start poking around something that they've got their identity attached to. A lot of them, I don't think, know how to handle that until they've started to do a lot of the work that goes along with it. So I would just say, be gentle. If you have to go to them and approach them with something that they've done that just needs to be corrected for whatever reason, or if you have to have some kind of a confrontation, try to, in some way, remind them that it is not personal. It has absolutely nothing to do with them. Remind them you really, really like them. Again, you think that they have a lot of value as an individual and as a person. And try to just confirm that again and again, you know what I mean, so that they don't feel like you're criticizing them, and be patient with them, because confrontation and things like that, especially when you're confronting them about what they have done, can be kind of a sticky situation. They can get a little testy about that. So just be patient with them and understand that they're just trying to get through that situation without losing any of their dignity. You know what I mean? So you can probably understand what that's like. I'm sure that you've been in situations like that. I know that I have. I remember I have a brother-in-law that's a 3, and I know I've told you guys that tons of times, but there have been times where he made a statement, and the statement that he made was an inaccurate statement. just factually. And I mean, I just corrected him. I was like, oh no, that's not right. Actually, it was this, blah, blah, blah. And I corrected him, and he would get like so mad at me. And he's had times where he's gotten so angry that I don't think, I think I embarrassed him, but I didn't mean to. But that was an embarrassing thing for him, because one of his biggest kind of 3 hangups is that he always has all the right answers and he knows everything and he can come up with the answer faster than everybody else and he has more information than everybody else. And so he's always the one that's correcting all of us. And that's kind of his thing. And so I challenged that once and he was like not happy about it. And he got up and he left and he had to go and cool off. And I mean, I felt bad because I was like, I didn't realize it was going to go over like that, or I would have just not said anything. But I mean, he's gotten a lot better since then. But I'm just saying, if you get reactions like that, don't take it personally. They're only reacting like that because they've probably taken it too personally themselves. You know what I mean? So just give them some grace for that, because they're just trying to learn that who they are is separate from all of the external shit that they have and that they do, you know? So just give grace for that. I would say something that really tends to make 3s happy, as I've already touched on, is they like accomplishing things. They like scratching stuff off of a to-do list. They like knowing that they made something happen, you know? So find things that you can go and do together as a couple, or again, and I say couple, I'm gearing this more towards people that are romantically involved, but you could use these things for friendships and roommates and, you know, parent-child relationships and siblings and all sorts of things. But find something that you can go and do together. Something, ask them if there's anything on their to-do list that they would like your help with that they could do. Ask them if there's something fun, maybe a competitive thing or something that they could complete that's fun, that you could do together. An example, they have now like these little pottery painting places where you can go and, you know, you can pick out like a teapot or a plate or whatever else is there, and you paint them and you leave it overnight and they put it in the kiln for you and they finish and all this stuff. And then you can come back and pick it up the next day and you've got a thing that you made and you painted. That might be something fun that a 3 could do, even if it's not that exact thing. Painting pottery may not be your thing, and that's fine. But I'm trying to give you guys, what I'm trying to do is say, find something that's fun, something that isn't going to generate income or isn't going to go in some nice little Pinterest type photo on Facebook for you to brag about. Just find something that's fun that you can do, that you can go and complete. Not necessarily like a movie, but something that you can do and do together. And that, I think, satisfies, or it may satisfy 3 things. 1, their need to stop working and just do something for fun, just because it's fun, which 3s need to do. And they have a hard time doing that. It also creates an opportunity for the 2 of you to bond and build relationship in a more authentic way. And it also allows them to still engage that part of them that really just enjoys that feeling of, I accomplished something, I finished this. You know, it could be going somewhere to play, you know, laser tag. They have these things now that are called escape rooms. And I have never been to one, but some of the people that I work with have been to one that they just put here where we live. And you go and they like literally lock you in this kind of crazy house kind of a thing. And you have to figure out how to escape. At least that's my understanding of it. That might be a fun thing to see who could figure out how to get out first. And anyways, if you get out without having to ask for help, I guess they give you some kind of a t-shirt that says I escaped or whatever. You know, so just things like that, things that can be done that can, you know what I mean? Just maybe competitive things. I'm just trying to give you guys some creative things to think about. Know that if you are in a relationship with a 3, know that they're going to try to put on this front of being an emotionally strong person and a confident person, but please understand that underneath of that, they are so insecure and just unsure of themselves. So don't assume that they just have all their shit together and that you don't have to validate them anymore. Again, lots of validation, lots of reassurance is going to be necessary in that relationship. Just encouraging them for who they are and that you love them and that they belong to you. You know what I mean? They are going to be very strong-willed, though, and they're going to be probably very opinionated, very strong-minded. They're going to get ideas into their head of what they'd like to do and what they'd like to see happen. And they're very ambitious people. They're always looking for the next, I think, the next biggest thing. How can we make it bigger and better. And again, whatever your niche is, if you're a 3, the job, the money, the physical appearance, the family, they're going to apply that way of thinking to that thing. So I mean, just get used to that. They're going to be always about how can we make this better. How can our lives be better a year from now than they are today? So just accept that. Admire them for that. Their tenacity and their willingness to dream big on behalf of you and your relationship as a whole is kind of nice, because if you're a different Enneagram number, like a 9, for example, that takes a lot of the weight off of you. They are kind of the ones that are planning the things for your family, and planning the things for you and your relationship, or the business that you guys work at together, your friendship, whatever that is. And I don't know. I think like they're just instigators of the development of relationship in their own way, different than 2, but in their own way. They're always kind of thinking, how can we make this bigger? How can we make it better? How can we improve upon it? It's kind of an interesting thing. So they're big dreamers. They always want more and better for them and for you. So go with that and be thankful for that, because they're going to figure out how to make it happen. Just accept that that's part of who they are. If you can, I know that this kind of ties into a point that I made earlier, encourage them to do things just for fun. 3s can get really caught up in, this has to have a purpose. It has to serve an overall purpose of, this is the image and this is what I want my life to look like, and this has to help build that life. Not everything that they do has to serve an overall purpose, but they're going to feel like it does. So try to encourage them to do something that's fun, just to have fun. I know that this is a really hard thing to hear. If you can get them and go on vacations regularly and get away from home, I would encourage you to do so if you have the finances to do that. Or again, if you're roommates or just friends, if you want to go on a road trip together, if you have a subordinate that works for you and they're a 3, if you can try to give them some time off. Like seriously, if you have a 3 and they work for you, you literally have to force them to take time off work, because 3s just work and they don't realize that they haven't used vacation days. 3s are the people that show up at work in the morning and they'll end up staying until 9 or 10 at night, and they end up working 6 or 7 days a week, and it doesn't even register to them that they're doing it, because they just get so caught up in the momentum of completing and of working and of achieving. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to watch that, and you may have to just kind of encourage them, maybe kind of in a nice way, force them to take some time for themselves. If you are married to someone that's a 3, like I said, if you can take them away and get them on a vacation, that would be a great idea. Please make sure that they leave their work at home. 3s have this tendency to go on vacation and then work while they're on vacation. They'll say things like, oh, well, this is just a quick thing, so I'll just do it. And then it turns into an all day thing. So you have to watch that. So you have to be very intentional about encouraging them, just to do something just because it's fun. It doesn't have to serve any greater purpose. It doesn't have to fit into the grand design of what we want our lives to look like. Let's just go and have fun just because it's fun. Building our relationship is an important thing, just because it's our relationship. You have to keep in mind that 3s want relationships, but I don't know if they genuinely believe at their deepest level that they are capable of having as intimate of a relationship with you as they want to have, because that will mean being entirely vulnerable with you and showing you the areas that they believe are deficiencies in themselves. And that's very, very scary for them. They don't want you to see their inauthenticities. They don't want you to see that they're less than what they present themselves to be. If you're married to a 3, like a female 3 or a male 3, they don't want you to see that they aren't as attractive as they were when you got married. And, it's important to them to be, still very sexually attractive to you. Do you know what I mean? So they just have a hard time allowing all of those walls to come down and to be seen just as a normal human being that's broken and has, ugliness to them, whether that's a physical feature or a psychological feature. So you have to encourage that, and that comes through relationship building, and it comes through intimacy building, and that is the hardest thing for them, okay? So I would encourage you to encourage them to do that. And as I made a point in my video for type 2, creating an emotionally safe environment within your relationship is going to be a great way to do that. One of the ways that you can create an emotionally safe environment is to validate whatever it is that they bring to you, whatever emotion that they need to express, whatever opinion that they need to express. Listen to it. Don't judge it. They need to be able to come to you and say whatever it is that they need to say, and know that they're not going to lose their relationship with you. They're not going to lose their standing with you. If they're a 3, they need to know that they can come to you and confess their just ugliest and most brokenest part. And it's not going to cost them their relationship, and it's not going to cost them their standing with you. They need to know that they can tell you about all of those terrible insecurities and their fears that they have, and the places that they feel are empty inside of themselves. And they need to know that they're still going to belong to you after that's done, and that they're not going to have lost any value. So those are not all of my points. Those are just a few. But I'm out of time, so you know the drill. Comments, questions, if you need me to compact something or expand it, let me know, and I'll do what I can. Thank you.